real easy here and just tell everybody a little bit about what the movie's about and how you came up with the idea for it.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm Braden. I'm the writer-director of What Lies Below. What Lies Below is a horror, thriller, sci-fi film about a young girl coming home from summer camp. She's 16 years old. She has a touch-and-go relationship with her mother, and she comes home to find her mother has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is an Adonis. And it ignites a sexual curiosity inside this girl, Libby, until one night in the middle of the night, she wakes up to an amber light out the backyard, and she sees the man, John Smith, basking in the light until he walks into the lake, towards the light, completely submerges himself, and the light clicks off. And the rest of the film is, holy crap, who is my stepdad, or my future stepdad? And that's the story in a nutshell.
And kind of, where did you kind of get this idea for the movie, since you also wrote it?
Yeah, so the idea started with an image and a backstory. The image in my head was this light beaming down from the sky in the middle of the woods and hitting a person's chest. And I always saw that scene, and I saw somebody watching that scene and going, what is going on? And when I started to see that person watching it, I started to wonder, who's the person watching it? What is their relationship to the man with the light in the chest? And that's what made me think about a backstory of my own. When I was a child, when I was about 5 years old, my first ever crush in my life was actually on my stepmom. And my stepmom, Sandy, who's now one of my best friends, used to loves to tell strangers all the time how when I was 5 years old, I used to come up to her in her apartment, pull on her arm and go, hey, you should chase me around the apartment and try to tickle me. And Sandy would do this, and it would be all cute, and everybody would laugh. But thinking back on that, you have to wonder, what would it be like if the roles were reversed? What would it be like if Sandy was a man and I was a little girl? And I took that idea, that premise, and I synthesized it with the light in the lake idea, or the light from the sky idea, and it became what is now What Lies Below.
And did you have any kind of difficulties in, I guess, kind of flipping that story and making it from a little girl's angle as opposed to maybe your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I was certainly intimidated about writing a female-driven film. Although I have three sisters, a mom, a stepmom, and I want to support female-driven narratives, it's still intimidating, right? And so what I did is I watched a ton of female-driven films by female directors. I read a lot of literature, including films about female psychological development, such as a book called Entangled by Dr. Duemmler, who breaks down what teenage girls go through over the course of high school and middle school. And I found it fascinating how much they analyze every decision, and they see the ripple effect of every move they make 10 ways out. They're constantly analyzing and second-guessing and worrying to a degree. And that really informed the narrative, as well as the relationship that I found described many times between them and their mother, which was this constant push and pull. At one moment they want to be independent. At the next, they want to be coddled and hugged and loved. And I think everyone can relate to that to a degree, this constant pull of our independence and dependence, fighting ourselves, right? And those two elements really enlightened me and enlightened the script, for sure.
Very interesting stuff, and being from a household of having a step parent, both a stepmom and a stepdad, it's very interesting to see the angle you took in this movie, because you kind of take an angle where she kind of likes him, or she has some feelings for him, which is unusual. Where sometimes, with my experience, I didn't really get along with them, at least for quite a while. So you kind of take a different angle here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely influenced by my relationship with my stepmom, because of that initial weird 5-year-old attraction. And I think that it makes the film function in a way, because when you figure out the mythos of John Smith, you understand why he is the way he is. And then it all kind of makes sense why Libby would not be able to resist to a degree. I don't want to get too much into spoilers. I don't know if we're doing a spoiler thing or not, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely a Venus flytrap. We'll leave it at that, and it's purposeful.
Well, kind of getting into that, you kind of, I guess, kind of hint at some things with. He's got a science side to him. Did you have to do a lot? You said you kind of did some research on being a teen, a girl teen, but did you kind of have to do any research from the science aspect of that? I mean, there's a lot of talk about creatures and so forth from John's aspect.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I was creating my idea of John Smith and everything that goes into that and who this person is, I did a ton of research on, a lot of scientific journals, a lot of things that never ended up affecting the narrative. But I was trying to find that thing that worked. And that info definitely influenced the film, but there was much more tedious research when I came to a point in the narrative that I needed something specific, like the experiments in the in the dining room with the water and the salt, or the lampreys, or the story about sodium. All of those things came from very specific research that was catered to that moment in the narrative. Yeah,
that was I was quite fascinated by that trick at the dining table. I was like, I almost wanted to rewind and try that on my own.
There is definitely some artistic liberty there, but it apparently does work.
So you mentioned John Smith a lot. So let's talk a little bit about your casting. And obviously, you found three great people here to perform your three major roles. But talk about how you found them, how you got them in the role, and also specifically John, because you needed, like you said, him to be almost a perfect guy. So how was it finding? I believe it was Trey to play this part.
Yeah, Trey Tucker. Thank you. It was, the whole casting experience was awesome. I think one of the things that really started it off on the right foot was our producers, Abel Bain and Stephen Stanley, found Katrina Wendell George, who was a casting director, and this was actually her first feature as the head casting director. And she just gravitated to the script. She really loved it. She connected with it because she had a stepfather growing up that she didn't, I think, get along with as well, or for whatever reason. And so she had this personal connection, and she as a result, completely committed to it, to the point where she was making phone calls on layovers during her vacation, and eventually we were able to land Mena, who I was blown away by. We had a great first meeting, and I really loved how much she loved the script and loved the idea. And that came and gave it that stamp of approval that ultimately led to us getting a ton of auditions from Trey and Emma and so many other people that were all going after the roles. And that's inevitably what led to Emma, who blew me away during her audition, and Trey, who also, in his own right, just absolutely stunned me in his audition.
And how fast did you kind of see them all come together and blend together there while you're on set?
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of time because things got kind of thrown together. I think Trey only had 6 weeks to get in shape for the film. That was our timeline. So they kind of met a couple of days before we shot, and they all hung out. I wasn't very keen on Trey and Emma getting to know each other too much, because the whole idea of the script is that they don't know each other and they're uncomfortable. But they had such a good rapport. They got along so well. I think they're best friends now or something. That it was kind of hard to keep them apart, and for everyone got along incredibly well, including Haskiri, who only was able to come on for like 2 days based on our shoot schedule. And you could see the chemistry in the cast because they're so comfortable with each other that they're willing to do these very uncomfortable things. and really get in close proximity and push boundaries. And I think that's why the film works for people, is because they weren't scared to push the envelope.
Well, certainly between Trey and Emma there, you guys, and between yourself behind the camera, one of the things you just kind of mentioned there was creating that. There's that unease between them. There's uncomfort there, and I think as an audience member, you see that there's some kind of weird tension, and you do a very good job of holding that for a really long time before you kind of figure out what is really happening here. So I think that you guys, all three of you, kind of, and everybody else, kind of nailed that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It was definitely a lot of work and dedication. Filmmaking is hard. It's rough. It's 13, 14-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days, and you just got to get through it. And I'm always amazed at performers because, all I have to do is decide where the camera goes and kind of make sure the performance is working and redirect it if it isn't. They have to bring the emotion and the depth every time I say action, and that's a heavy burden to carry, especially in a film with the relationships that we have between Emma and Michelle. I mean, Libby and Michelle specifically. They obviously have such a broken relationship as mother and daughter, yet they still love each other so desperately. So I think that's why it's really a tribute to them, this film, the actors.
And kind of speaking of challenges, was there anything that specifically was maybe your biggest challenge overall?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. So for instance, the lampreys that are now going to, people are going to be well aware of, were really impossible to get on set. They're actually a very invasive species. They're a parasite, and any ecosystem they become part of, they decimate. They kill the wildlife really badly. So as a result, if they're ever caught, they're supposed to be immediately exterminated. State governments actually want to eradicate lampreys from ecosystems. So needless to say, it was very difficult not only to get them caught, but to get them across state lines, to get them shot in any capacity. And the only reason we were able to do it was because I have a friend who's studying biology who happens to catch these things on a regular basis as he trenches a lake up in Vermont. And so we were able to go there, shoot this one lamprey to make it look like the multitude that it is. And that was the only way we got that part of the script done, but it was so necessary in my head because of how creepy they are with those mouths and the suction, and as well as their relationship to the science of the film and the backstory of John Smith.
That's definitely crazy stuff, and obviously very hard when you. It's hard enough when you have regular animals on set, but nonetheless something like that.
Right, exactly.
I wanted to end this to give you a good chance to tell fans what they should expect from this movie, why they should watch it, what they should look forward to. Just a chance for you to promote the movie overall.
Yeah. So the film is a sci-fi horror thriller. It is intended to make you think and connect the dots. At the end of the day, the one way I would describe the film is a mystery. And the final shot and the final scenes of the movie are the bookends to that mystery. They're the aha moment. So hopefully when people see that and they feel as if maybe they might feel cheapened because it doesn't answer anything, I promise you it does. You just have to go back and put the clues together. And they're all there. And from the way Trey says certain things to the fact that he has water in his hand every single scene of the movie that is sometimes tough to notice, but it's there. He's always touching or around water. And many other elements that are all there throughout the film.
Awesome. Well, yeah, now I might have to go back and take a look for that, because that's an interesting tidbit there. I kind of thinking about it. I noticed some of that, but maybe not every moment. So I might have to go back and look for that.
Yeah, in fact, the only scene where he doesn't have water in his hand is because we didn't have a big enough room to shoot the side table of the bed, which had the water glass on it. So we couldn't fit it into the frame, unfortunately. But I promise it's there in all the other scenes.
Awesome. That's a great tidbit, and I hope everybody who watches the movie and listens to this interview catches and can enjoy. So with that, I thank you very much for your time, and like I said, I watched the movie and I definitely enjoyed it, and enjoyed what you did there, and a lot of the performances were really great.
Thank you so much, Omar. I appreciate your kind words, and thank you to everyone who checks out the film. I hope you enjoy it.